It's the Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. It's the Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. It's the Evan edition.
Welcome back to the Evan edition, where we talk movies, TV, comics, pop culture, and everything in between. I'm your host, Evan Bernstein, and today's guest is someone who didn't just create a comic. He's building an entire universe from the ground up. He's the creator of Impound Comics, a rising original comic universe that's not only telling new stories, but doing it in a completely modern way. Through smart, engaging content, viral storytelling, he's built a massive audience, crossing over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. Congratulations. And over 500,000 followers on TikTok, while turning everyday questions about powers, heroes, and choices into a gateway into his world. But what makes this even more impressive is that this isn't backed by some major company. This is independent. This is creator driven. This is someone betting on their own imagination and winning. Today, we're diving into the mind behind it all, the origin, the process, the strategy, and what it really takes to build a universe from nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, I am joined by the creator of Impound Comics, Brent Trayce. Welcome to the show, my friend.
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. How you doing? You are a very busy man. You are always on the move. You are every convention. I see you out there hustling all the time. How are you doing, dude?
I'm good, man. Just a daily day grind. Every day is dedicated to how we can be improving from yesterday, whether that's conventions, content, a lot of content, but just always trying to evolve and not only catch up with bigger brands, trend set, how they're done.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to get into all the stuff, and I'm super excited. We're going to get into your childhood, where you get these great ideas, the hustle. And then we're going to talk about some current stuff like the Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer. We're going to get into the Dune 3 trailer, and we're going to talk a little Michael B. Jordan, Miami Vice, because Tom Cruise might be the villain. So we got a bunch of stuff to get into, but let's get right into it. You've built an entire comic universe from scratch and turned social media into your marketing engine. Did you always know you were going to do something like this?
No, of course not. I don't know if anybody could predict this type of thing, but I always knew I was going to be writing stories. I had movie scripts in my mind though, this whole time, or majority of my life, or novels, like regular traditional chapter books. Comic books wasn't even something that I thought about writing until right before I started doing it. Always being a fan of fiction and comic book characters and things of that nature. But I think because I couldn't draw, when you're not an illustrator, you don't think about making comic books. And then it's just like when you get older, it's just a realization of, if I can't draw, just hire someone who can draw. You know what I mean? But I think the idea of creating comics almost goes hand in hand with being able to be an illustrator, which I wasn't.
Let's take it back a little bit.
Okay.
What were you like as a kid? Were you already creative? Did that come later? Did you have a big imagination?
Definitely always creative. I don't think it was ever a leader of who I was. I was more into sports, more basketball, football. That was kind of like my childhood, mixed in with fiction. Ninja Turtles was a huge part of my childhood. The Power Rangers, Rugrats, Nickelodeon, and things like that. But I would definitely say I started showing the want to create stories very, very young. I would probably say around like 10 or 11. Realistically, you know, I was a huge fan of Pokemon around that time, and the Pokemon movie came out, and I remember trying to make
Oh
somewhat of
yeah.
a comic book at that time, with the illustrating skills that I did have before I could realize I can't draw. But that was the first sign of that. And then I would say, even as I grew up, still more into sports and music and things like that, I always was trying to write some sort of story when I was inspired by another story. So, you know, again, it went from like the Pokemon idea. I was heavily inspired by Blade early on, and I wanted to make, you know, I was always into like kind of like the heaven and hell type of stories, like, you know, demons and angels. And yeah, I wrote a lot of things before I actually published something. So
Yeah.
so it was a big part of my life, but it was always just a hobby more so than it was the idea of wanting it to be who I am.
Yeah, I remember Mewtwo was like a huge thing for the movie,
Yeah,
and like when you went to it, they gave you a
the
Mewtwo
Mewtwo card.
card.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that was like my favorite thing as a kid. So I had the same thing. When you mentioned sports, did anything playing in organized sports influence what you do or how you move today?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I would say definitely like kind of like either the determination, the will to not want to quit, and kind of like just competitiveness in general.
Mhm.
You know, I grew up in a very competitive household in sports, and I played very competitively, you know, so it wasn't just like random fundamental leagues. You know, I was on traveling teams. I used to play against some of the best players in the world in basketball at that time.
Okay.
You know, I played against in high school, we were in tournaments with Derrick Rose and, you know, Brandon Jennings and Kevin Love, and like that's my era. And seeing or playing against all of those guys in middle school and high school. So, you know, we were a highly competitive, you know, sports household in that sense, and a lot of those values definitely went on with me into this world.
Did you grow up with brothers,
I
sisters?
got two brothers and two sisters.
Were you the youngest or the oldest, or where
Second
did you
oldest. So I'm
second
the
to the
oldest boy.
oldest?
But I
Okay.
have an older sister basically, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Um, so when you were a kid though, like what was the first thing you were obsessed with that made you go like, I want to create worlds, or I'm starting to think about worlds like that I want to create. What made you think that?
It was Pokemon. You know, Pokemon was the
It
first like
was
thing that I was
the
trying to write.
show, the
At
show
least just
originally,
what'd you say?
the show originally, and
The
then the
show,
movie, or
I think well, so the Mewtwo thing, the arrival of Mewtwo in that movie, I
that.
wrote something that was kind of inspired by his intro, like someone in a lab and he breaks out and
Mhm.
he's powerful. So that's the first thing I ever wrote. But yeah, the show led up to the movie, but the movie definitely is what made me want to that's what made me write something. It was nothing. I don't even remember what it actually was. I just remember that lab scene, and I like recreated that in a different way. But it was like they were making a person, not like a Pokemon or an animal, but
Right.
that was the first thing. And then Blade was the second thing. And
The movie.
Blade inspired me to do a novel called Fallen Angel, and it was a heaven and hell type of story, and it was a chapter book though. And it's something I lost a long time ago. I remember a lot of it, but I
Mhm.
don't have access to it anymore. I'd have to rewrite it, but I probably wouldn't anyways. I'm just kind of in a different space, you know,
Yeah.
now. But Blade was another heavy one for me. And then later on, I would say it really became like Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings, because I started
Oh,
writing
okay.
kind of like ancient war and ancient fiction as well.
Very nice. Very nice. So when I went on your, when we did the fantasy and I did like some of the Game of Thrones characters like the Red Woman and stuff, that was like right up your alley. You were like, okay, okay, he's talking
Yeah.
my language.
No,
Okay. Very
I've
nice.
watched Game of Thrones a ridiculous amount of times. Like I know almost every line of the show, all the seasons.
That's awesome. No, I mean it's an incredible show. What did you think of the end? Were you
Yeah, the same
disappointed
thing
like the
everybody
rest of
else
them, or
thinks. Same
okay?
thing everyone else thinks. I mean, it was, you know, it is what it is. I still don't hold the entire show accountable for the end, but I wish it could have been better, you know.
Yeah, yeah. No, I had done a rewatch and I was I don't think I'm as mad as I was when it first ended. I do see that it was like extremely rushed. And if they took some time, maybe did like a full season or maybe an extended season, it could have paid off a little bit more. But yeah, man, it didn't end as well as I wanted to. But the rest of the show is just like on another level. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, when I rewatch, I
Um,
usually stop at season 7, and it is what it is.
and then go back to the beginning and do it over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, when you were younger, like, was there any comics? I know you mentioned some movies like Blade and the Pokemon movie. Was there any comics or shows or other types of like anime that shaped your brain the most?
The whole not comic books, no, because I just wasn't raised reading comic books. That came later on in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But I was, into comic book characters and other media like shows and games and things. But Dragon Ball Z was a monumental part. That was Pokemon led into Dragon Ball Z, and I was into all of that. I used to make websites, fan sites, and stuff for Dragon Ball Z, so I was heavily into that. It was a little bit later, but Avatar: The Last Airbender became. It's still to this day
Mm-hmm.
my favorite animated anything. But as a kid, other than the movies of comic book films, I was much more into Nickelodeon. So I was my main thing above everything else that I've said was always Rugrats, Hey Arnold, Doug, Rocket Power, Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah.
So that was a
Angry
daily
Beavers.
thing for me was Nickelodeon until I was almost to high school. And then everything else was a side quest. You know what I mean? So I would say I loved Pokemon more than everything on Nickelodeon, but I only went to that network when Pokemon was on, and then I went back to Nickelodeon. Um, and Harry Potter was a big thing. That's
Mhm.
more what I was reading growing up. Were novels like that, but I was reading Harry Potter as the movies were coming out and things like that. So that was huge. And again, like I said, Lord of the Rings, that was a big thing. I'm a much bigger fan of fantasy, like ancient fantasy, than I
Mhm.
am of actually superheroes. Obviously I love superheroes, but Chronicles of Narnia, man, that was more my speed. Still is, still is.
Very cool. No, that's really cool. I mean, that run of Nickelodeon shows is just
Unmatched.
completely unmatched. I mean,
Yeah.
it goes on and on. I mean, Rocco's Modern Life,
Yeah.
Angry Beavers, Ren
Even
and
live action, like
Stimpy.
all that, and Kenan and Kel, the Amanda Show, all of that, like everything on Nickelodeon was my favorite thing. And I would like literally just let it go through every episode of every
Same.
show, and I would
Yeah.
just let it sit there.
Do you remember Kablam? Where it was
Yeah,
like a
absolutely.
comic book that opened up and
Yeah,
then it was like the different stories in the comic book?
yeah.
That was
Kablam
sick.
was
That
fire.
was
And I also read which I know is not Nickelodeon because Are You Afraid of the Dark made me think of it. I read a lot of Goosebumps growing up.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Dude, we
Mm.
had like the same childhood pretty much. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly what I watched. I watched that. I had all, you get them on VHS, like the
Yeah.
one with the mask. I
Yeah.
had the green mask. I'd
Yeah.
scare my brother with it.
The
I'd be a little
puppet.
scared. I would be a little scared it would get stuck like the girl and stuff. I was like, "Uh-oh, is it
Yeah.
real?"
Yeah.
Yeah, the puppet.
Now,
The
Goosebumps was
puppet.
great. Even just
Yeah,
the experience
Goosebumps
of
was
reading and
awesome.
turning to what page is the good way to go and the bad way to go. And, you flip through the page and it says you're going to die. And you're like, oh, never
Mhm.
mind. I'm going back to the other page.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. R.L. Stein was great. And
Yeah.
I really liked Animorphs. I thought Animorphs was really sick. Did you ever read that?
Animorphs?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the one that was, yes. I'm trying to think. I don't know why when you said Animorphs, the Usher movie came into my mind first. Cause I know it has like a symbol. What is the Usher movie?
The Usher.
The
Oh, oh,
Faculty.
oh. Oh, The Faculty. Yeah, yeah. Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah,
I
because I,
love
I
that
remember the
movie.
Animorphs. There was something about that. Like that, I don't remember. It was. I don't fully remember the Animorphs, but I do remember it was like aliens amongst the teenagers or
Kind
something.
of,
They would
yeah.
turn into like
They,
animal
they,
like
they
things.
hmm
I didn't get as deep into that lore, but my sister was super into Animorphs.
Okay. Yeah,
But they
yeah.
did
And
have a show, right?
yeah, yeah, they had a show which was
Yeah.
really good. And then Alice Mack was also a great show on Nickelodeon. She had like the liquid spilled on her and she got powers. She could like move things and
I
turn
remember
into
that title,
liquid.
but I can't picture the show for some
hmm
reason.
It was so inventive back then, man. Like the
Yeah, look,
shows
now
on
I gotta look. I'm like
Nickelodeon.
looking up Alice Mack real quick because I'm like,
Yeah, yeah,
it's about
yeah,
to
look it
bother
up.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah, look it
remember
up.
that. I remember that.
It was dope. It was really dope.
Yeah. For some reason, when she also reminded me of this was my sister's favorite one. Clarissa Explains It All.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that one. Yeah, yeah. My wife has a friend named Clarissa, so I always say, "Oh, Clarissa explains it all." She's like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
we get the joke. We get it."
Yeah.
90s kids. What kind of stories were you telling before Impound Comics even existed? I know you mentioned that book, but when you started putting stories to paper, pen to paper, was there different types of stories before you got to Impound?
Everything was different, Like the last
Everything.
book, the book that I actually finished, but I still never published before Impound was heavily Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings inspired. So
Okay.
it was a fictional world of ancient war and ancient fiction with, orcs and humans and while I was into those things, I was also playing Warcraft. So like that was a huge era of my life. That was Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, Warcraft, and then you throw in things like 300 and Troy and
hmm
Spartacus and like, other things that just kind of inspired. I've always loved that era of just one guy with a sword as a difference kind of a thing, versus modern war, you know, um, you can just have a really good gun
Yeah.
and make a difference. But like when it's just a guy with a sword, you just have to be better than him. So that was more the direction I probably thought I was going to go in at that time before going into comic books. And then when I went into comic books, I think I just naturally felt like it's supposed to be a superhero. And even though they were already hero stories, just a different approach on what it looks like, more modern. But I'm still going to be diving into like ancient war in the comic book space as well.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I was wondering that because I know you are steeped in Impound universe right now. So I was wondering because of that love for I gotta plug my charger in. Because of that love for fantasy and fantasy epics and sword and sandal and that kind of stuff. I was wondering if you were gonna try and get back to that or make it a part of that universe in some kind of way, in some pocket somewhere.
Yeah, no, it's already I've already wrote the whole thing and I've already gotten all of the characters illustrated. So 100%. I'm just looking at it as going to be a period piece of the Impound universe. It'll just either be from a distant planet. This is the history on this planet that still
Mhm.
exists in the modern world of the Impound universe, but this is, a different time.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Um, I want to transition a little bit and talk about building Impound Comics
Okay.
because this bad boy is huge. There are
Yeah.
so many different characters, so many different storylines, so many different types of characters. I mean, it is a vast universe.
Yeah.
Where did the idea for Impound Universe actually start?
It didn't start anywhere soon in the beginning. It was just about Impound. So originally,
hmm
it was just about that character, his story, and that was the only thing planned. I think a lot of the time that I have to spend waiting for an illustrator to finish pages
hmm
gives me time to keep writing because you're always going to be far ahead of the illustrator while it takes him a long time to draw. And then people started asking questions, like people who read that story was like, what does this mean? Where's that from? And that kind of just sparked answering questions. And then some things were just other ideas that I just, I couldn't stop writing. But I don't think going into it, it was never meant to be a full universe. It was just about Impound the guy. And then the universe factor of it came later.
That's really cool. How do you come up with your characters? Are they inspired by real people, concepts, just pure imagination?
All of them, all of the
All
three.
the above?
There's not one way to do any of that. Sometimes I use real people, real names, real situations. Sometimes I'm just trying to create something that's similar to something I already like. But every character has its own inspiration, but there's definitely real world things implied, and then there's things that are just complete fiction, but no character was made the same. So there's not one way to do it. I don't try to make it done in one way.
Yeah.
However it comes is the way it's going to be, and I just go from there. And then when I feel like it's ready, that's when I bring it to the forefront. But um, you know, there's never been a specific way or direction, or
Right.
this is the pattern of creation that I've ever followed. I can go watch a movie tomorrow and be like, that sparked something that I would want to do. You know what I mean? So, um, yeah, no true process of creation, just, waiting till I think it's actually ready, you know.
I know you said like the inspiration can kind of come from anywhere. So has it ever come from like powers? Like, oh, I think if I want a character with this kind of powers, or like personality, like I want like a badass person, or like someone that's shifty in the shot, like or the story that you're already telling kind of influences this kind of character that will come in. Has there been any characters where it was like just solely based on like powers, and like I want someone with this kind of power here?
I would say every single one of them is
That's
designed
so
like
cool.
that. They're all the powers that I like. That
Yeah.
all of them are designed that way for the most part. Um, I love laser vision on like how Cyclops looks. I love the
Hmm.
Force. I made both of that Impound.
Oh,
Blasted
you
his
have some of these
the
characters.
tattoo god. It was definitely the tattoos. Pulling that was the beginning of his whole creation. So it
Yeah.
started with that power, and then I designed the character and the backstory around that. But for the most part, yeah. Seraph, he does short range teleportation. I always like Nightcrawler. Yeah, so it doesn't always have to be that way, but I would
Hmm.
say at least in the beginning, I usually recommend to people to make things that you like. So I'd sit back and say, what are my favorite things? And I look at it from that perspective, and then I design around my favorite thing. So like, I love this power. I love this power. I can't stand that power. Probably not going to make that. You know what I mean? But that's usually how I do it.
That's really cool. For the writing aspect of it, is it like more structured or like chaotic when you write? Like, do you carve out times during the day like I need to put pen to paper, or
No.
is it just like whenever it strikes, you're in the
Yeah.
room writing for hours, kind of like that?
Yeah, it's whenever I feel like it. If I don't feel like it, I'm not doing it. I don't force stories out.
Okay.
Um, if the public had to wait for his next chapter, you have to wait.
Okay.
It is
George
what it
R. R.
is.
Martin
I'd rather
style.
put it out right than try to force it out. But no, I don't allocate like specific times. Like I don't do like a once a
Hmm.
week. No, it's fully like I'm ready to write right now. Let's do it right now. And then I sit
Okay.
down and write as much as I can until I don't feel like it anymore. And as soon as I'm tired of writing, I put it down and I move on with my life. You know what I mean? I would definitely say I spend more time marketing and promoting than I do actually writing, especially these days. But yeah, I don't try to I don't I avoid writer's block altogether. I just don't deal with it. Because
Okay.
again, I'm not on anyone else's time on
Right.
delivery of anything, right? And I just go by that. That's how you end up with the final season of Game of Thrones. You know what I mean? When you're crunch, like saying you have to be done this day. It's like, nah, man. Um,
Right. That's the
I just move
results
on
you
to a
get.
different
Yeah.
story too. Yeah,
Okay.
the hundred
Okay.
percent. You know.
On to the next. Okay. Keep
Yeah,
it moving. Keep it going. Okay.
yeah.
I like that.
Hmm.
Um, do you, this universe is like a breathing, living thing at this point. Do you have like an ending in mind for any of the characters or anything
Um,
in this universe? Any kind of end game situation?
I mean, yeah, it's already set up to have that, but it will always continue one way or another. It'll just be like
Right.
more the end of the chapter or the end
Right.
of a saga. But yeah, so all of at least the first few characters, they all have their ending results on where they end up. But some characters might not cross paths with the others. Some of them I kind of keep them more isolated, and they just have their own journey to do. But as far as like Impound goes, yeah, his saga, I know exactly how it ends, and that's what we're
Oh,
building up to that ending saga.
okay. Okay. So at some point he will have an end.
As a
Like not
chapter, as
as
a
a
as a
chapter, not
saga.
a yeah. We know comics they keep going, but there's
Yeah, you know
these
what I mean. Like
ends
it's
of runs, right? So it might be this end of a run, and then he'll have another one.
maybe I'll start over and do it a different way, or maybe it'll just continue
That's
from
cool.
there. I don't know yet that far, but I like
Okay,
as of right now, the run that's happening, I know how this run will end. Yes.
very cool. Okay, that's awesome. Cece was saying Cece's in the chat. She was saying she loves that your approach. That when I feel like it keeps the work authentic and she was saying GOT shit. I mean, true though. Yeah, it's. I mean,
I tell people that all the time when they ask me, because that's to me that's just the best way to do it.
yeah,
Um, you know, you don't have to even I always go back to Game of Thrones. The final book still isn't even done after all that. After all this time in that horrible final episode season, the final book still isn't done. And he says, I don't have it yet. And he's like, and it is what it is.
yeah,
Now I'm hoping we get it soon. It's probably going to be the highest selling book in history, but
100%.
I don't believe in that, and I don't think you should put that kind of like pressure on yourself as a writer because again, I think that diminishes the story.
100%. No, 100% it does. What would you say is the hardest part about building this universe from scratch, from nothing?
The as far as for me, the hardest part isn't the writing. That's not the hard part to me. That's something that like I would be doing for free. So
Okay.
that's the easy part. The hardest part of any business is just keeping, um, you know, funds available to continue. That's the hardest part.
Keeping the lights
It's
on.
not the creative side at all. It's the you know, getting illustrators isn't cheap and it's not free. And
Hmm.
and being creative enough to keep funds coming in so that you can continue because it is extremely expensive. Fortunately enough, we've been blessed to keep growing as an audience and keep sales coming in. And there was a lot of downtime where it seemed like I don't know what's the next step on how we're going to get through this, but we figure it out. But the hardest part is not the creative side. The hardest part is just a business, especially as unique as this, where we're selling, paper pages to people with, words and colors on them and convincing
Yeah.
them this is going to be one of the best things you've ever read. That's the hard part.
So
Which is why
what
I tell people how much focusing on marketing you have to do, because that's the
mhm.
only way. You can have the best story in the world, but if no one picks it up and reads it, it doesn't matter.
Was it hard to find an artist, and did you give him or them like the ideas that you were going for with different design? Like you're not an illustrator yourself, so I
Yeah.
imagine it'd be kind of hard to like explain it to someone something that's in your head that you see. Like was that a hard part of the process?
It's a tedious part.
Tedious, back and
It
forth.
could be. Um, it's challenging to find an illustrator that not only fits your style, fits your budget, is also like hardworking, that actually is going to get it done. That's
Right.
probably the most challenging part of that. Most, like anything else, most illustrators, they think they want to write comic books for a living until you send them 100 pages to draw, and they get, a few pages in, they realize it's harder than what they thought, and now they don't want to do it anymore. So it's very challenging to find someone dedicated that is willing to figure it out. But the explanation part, I wouldn't have called it a hard. I don't call it a hard process. I don't think it is.
Yeah.
I think it's just time consuming. You got to send them references. You have to show them this is where I'm going. And when they send back sketches, it's a back and forth for a little bit. But, once you kind of get that relationship or understanding with the artist, it usually starts going relatively easy from there. The artist that did my last book, Impound Six, I just sent him a new book. He sketched out all 40 pages, and I probably had
Yeah.
him change four things. And it's just
Mhm.
because he now understands, he understands the character motives and what he looks like and how he should be doing things. You do have to explain, when Impound shoots his laser vision, he doesn't put his hand to his eye like Cyclops. He forces it out with his hands to his side and his fist balled up. So like the mannerisms is a thing. But I don't think it's necessarily hard. I
Okay.
just think it's just the process.
Yeah.
If
Okay.
someone can't captivate it, you're using the wrong illustrator. I would probably
Good
give
point.
you a few chances before I just say, "Hey, this isn't it." And then I'd probably be like, "I just, unfortunately, I don't think this is gonna work," and I just wouldn't move on.
Have you had to do that
Yeah,
with the
tons of
illustrator?
times.
Tons of
Yeah, all
times.
the
Tons of
time. Yeah, I
times.
mean, I've lost a lot of money building up. I have comic books that are 7 pages in, and I either had to walk away from the illustrator because they weren't sending in their pages, and
Hmm.
months have went by with no updates, or I just don't think it fits the art style I want. It seemed okay at first, and I looked at it again, and I'm like, nah. The book Hydro Beast that I'm about to release,
Yep.
I had to stop working with an illustrator halfway through. Cautious, same thing. Both books that you see that are now up on our page, I had to
Yep.
restart both of those at a time. So
Wow.
yeah, unfortunately it happens a lot. Um,
Wow.
and then like I said, there's just illustrators who would disappear because they don't know how to say this is too tough for me, and they just walk away. You don't hear from them again. So
They
um,
just ghost you. They just ghost you.
yeah,
Wow.
so it's if you find an illustrator that's hardworking and dedicated, make sure they stay happy, because you're gonna want to hold on to them for more than what you think. I'm blessed to have two illustrators that have been with me since the very beginning, but I've came
Nice.
and went with a lot of other illustrators doing other stories. But
Wow.
like this guy, Ernest, he's probably this. He's been with me since 2020, and we launched in 2020, and
Right.
we just keep going through the motion. He does, even though he doesn't draw all of my books, he
Hmm.
contributes something to all of them. And as soon as he's ready to get paid, he gets paid, because I don't want him to feel like his hard work and dedication is overlooked.
No, that's great. I mean, any relationship, I mean, communication is the most important thing. And like you were saying, like, even if it's not working, communicate that to you. Don't just ghost you and be like, it's not worth it. But like communication can, if it's good and respectful, can get you through most things. So
Yeah,
it's incredible that connection between the artists and the creator and finding that middle ground and having that good communication. That's people don't really realize like how strong that connection needs to be. At least the communication needs to be to achieve what you want.
absolutely.
I want
It's
to
a
talk
team job. It's a teamwork, you know what I mean?
yeah.
You guys have to be able to work together to do it. I might be, yeah, obviously the creator and like the captain of this, but some things, a lot of the part of creating also is it doesn't always have to be what I said or exactly how I'm thinking. Sometimes illustrators throw things out there and I look at it and I say, I think that's better. Or I didn't even think of it like that, or I wasn't even looking at it like that, but I like that. So that happens all the time too. It's not always this is my book and this is how I want it
Right.
done. It's sometimes you're like, hey, I was thinking this might be cool, and I'll look and I'll be like, yep, yeah, you got it, yeah.
That's
So
really cool.
that's also a part of it. I would even say that I thought I had the book right here, but I don't. But I have my character Seraph, and he has red
Uh-huh.
swords, and that was the illustrator's idea. I never thought of that. Yeah, there he is. He had red sheaves on his back, and one of the illustrators thought his swords were red, and they drew that image with the
Oh, I
red
remember you
swords.
told me
And then I was like,
this.
his swords aren't red. There's that was just the sheaves on his back. And then, but I was like, I kind of like that better. You know what I mean? I was like, I've never actually seen, I can't think of red swords anywhere. So we
Right.
kept it, you know, so
Yeah, let
it's
the
a team
artist be an
effort.
artist, right? Let the artist
Hmm.
be an artist sometimes, and
There's
that's what.
a thing that Stan Lee did that's, I don't remember what he called the rule, but
Mhm.
I don't add words to the book until after it's illustrated, because maybe what he was saying in my mind, now that I'm looking at the page, him saying that doesn't really seem or make as
Yeah,
much sense. He's still saying something like that, but sometimes, yes, you have to look at it and be like, this is what he's saying. You know what I mean? So you have to let the artist, have some sort of control. He just can't go off of what the mission of your character is or something like that. But yeah, it's a lot that I let them create, and I just go about it.
that's really cool. I want to shift gears a little bit because you mentioned this. You are a marketing machine when it comes to Impound in this world, but the way that you go about it, I mean, from uh the little ads you do with the laser shooting out of your eyes, to the asking people at conventions, name top 10, top or 10 superheroes with ice powers, these kind of stuff.
Yeah,
It's really been such a smart and creative way to get your brand out there, get your face out there, and also just geek out about the stuff that we all love. And I think
yeah.
it's just been such a brilliant way to go about it. At what point did you realize social media could be the engine for this universe?
The whole time. I don't think I ever, realized that. I think um it's more was about figuring out what social media wanted from me,
Hmm.
or throwing things out on the wall to see what works. When I launched Impound, it was in the pandemic where the algorithm of social media was substantially high, so there was never a time that our internet presence wasn't a high presence. But I think it's, for one, social media keeps changing. The algorithm literally is the algorithm, it keeps evolving,
Yep.
and figuring out each platform, right? I think I had a great understanding of Instagram. I couldn't figure out YouTube. It took me a while to understand TikTok. And I just figured out Facebook 3 4 months ago, in a sense of like going viral on it. And it's more understanding these platforms, and these algorithms are different, and what works on each of them. But I also didn't really want to be the face of anything. I also was just trying to have a social media presence. And as soon as I realized, when, I can post Impound and it goes viral, but if I talk about it myself, it goes more viral, then, adjusting myself to be present. But I would say I never didn't think that, social media wasn't the way, but it was definitely a learning curve of comic book and fictional content to be what the algorithm wanted to show other people. That was more the discovery that I had to figure out on the way. Um, the first year on Instagram looks substantially different than right now.
Hmm. Where did the idea come from with the, you know, um, name, 10 superheroes with this kind of power, or, this versus that, right? Who Homelander, versus this
Yeah.
person, or Homelander and this. Where did those ideas come from?
Um, I think it was a thing on social media where people were talking about the whole black characters that always have lightning powers, was like a subject that was popular online at the moment.
Yeah.
So then I just kind of did a test run or test type of thing at a con. And started telling people to name 10 black characters that don't have lightning abilities. I think it was only five at in the beginning. And it was just an instant viral thing, and I was just kind of trying it. I wasn't really like sold on it. And it was so viral that, one thing that I learned on, if something lands, you keep throwing that punch until it doesn't land. So
Right.
then, I kind of got this identity of the name 10 black characters. People were trying to figure that out because that was such a big subject. And then it just evolved over time. I got tired of saying it. What can I say next? Name, ice characters, name this. And
Yeah.
then this or that's came from just sports. What you watch sports content, they're going to say who's better,
Right.
this
Top
basketball player. And I
10s.
just evolved
Yeah.
it to that. Other people started doing it as well. And then it
Mm-hmm.
just, just innovation. What can I keep asking that's not the exact same thing, but maybe either trendy or unfamiliar. Now it's gotten to a point I ask people about gangster films now and sports films and
I saw.
kind of evolving it, not even just about comics and superheroes. But yeah, it was really just a trial, and it just went really well. And why would I stop? Kind of became
Right.
my approach on it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's really cool to see the different interactions with fans of, the things that we love. I'm wondering what we don't see though. Has there ever been any interactions where you're like, I am not using that, or that did not go the way that I planned it, or this person was
Not very
interesting?
rarely. If you agree to
Yeah.
do it and you look bad, it's kind of like that. I would say, if I was to be honest, the only times I haven't used the video was either for when like we didn't have audio or sound on or something like that. I messed
Okay.
up. Or if, maybe like if I knew the person maybe had special needs or something like that, but they really wanted
Hmm.
to do the interview, fearfulness of like, kind of like being teased, I wouldn't post that.
Right.
But for the most part, nah, if you get on here and you mess up, that's your fault. I treat it kind of like, I look at it like Family Feud. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
ultimately, I tell people what it's going to be about. I show them what it's going to be about, and I don't kind of like spawn things on them that they didn't know was going to happen.
Yeah.
And if someone was to feel bad, which most people don't, it happens sometimes. We're just talking about comic books. Who cares, right? We're not
Right.
talking about science or math or something that
World
actually matters.
politics or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you
Something
didn't
like that.
know, 10 superheroes with laser vision, I
It's
promise you this
okay.
is not going to ruin your life after the video is posted. Like, no one's going
Yeah.
to care that much. It's not this big of a deal. It is what it is. Get them next time. You know what I mean? But I think it's that part of reminding people, like, this subject, it's not genuinely important to who you are as a human being.
Yeah. No, 100%. I mean, you've done it so long now, and you're at these conventions a lot. I mean, you really get to be a part of this community and start seeing a lot of the same people and a lot of the
Mhm.
same fans. Has there ever been a moment at these conventions where it really, touched your heart and you're like, wow, like this is a really cool part of the job. Like this
Nah,
this
yeah,
is
for
really
sure.
cool.
I mean, a lot of it's a good amount of people now at every convention that knows
Yeah.
about it already. A lot of the people that I interview ask me at this point, they see me and they're like, I've been waiting to run into you, or or they don't even care about the content itself. They're talking about just Impound Comics.
Right.
That happens relatively often, and it never gets old to hear, that reassuring that you're doing something that is, being resonated with people. So it's a great feeling. Because I know what we're doing not only is impactful like storytelling, we're also bringing a lot of people out of their shells. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're also helping people socialize and A lot of people go to these cons and they're not necessarily social people. They're trying to find like a tribe, or they're trying to, just be around people who they think is a like mind of theirs. So, being able to just have those types of interactions and let people open up and nerd out, is also a dope part of what we're doing. But yeah, I mean, it never gets old. It's always, and then like some of the cons, especially in SoCal, I'll see a lot of the same people, and they'll come up and be like, "Oh, I messed up last time, but I got it this time," and then they mess up again. But it is what it is.
What about with your comic books in general? Like, have you had any moments, can you think of any specific time where like a fan, a child, someone like that, and came up to you and was like, your comic really spoke to me, or I really love this character. This character got me through a hard time, something like that. Was there ever a moment like that that you can think
I
of
mean,
that was
yeah,
like, oh wow.
not even to brag, it happens pretty often now.
Ooh. No,
Gratefully, you know what I mean? Like
that's
it happens
fantastic.
pretty often these days. It was probably maybe the first time it happened. You know what I mean? Was like a blowaway moment.
Do you remember
Um,
that? Do you remember that first
I
time?
mean, we opened up a store very early. We opened up the
Mm-hmm.
Impound Comics store. So the opening, a lot of people came to it who weren't
Right.
comic book fans. So I would say there was never a time in this brand that we didn't have that type of that type of impact on people, because I don't come from a world of necessarily fully dedicated to comic book readers.
Right.
And me saying that this is what I'm doing, this is what I love, that really opened up the doors for a lot of people who I knew or didn't know, that have always kind of been closeted nerds who didn't really want, they didn't know, all right, it's safe to talk here about this kind of thing. I would say the story that I think about the most probably in this is one of my friends whose name his name is G, huge security guard. He's been bouncer at all the clubs. I've known him for
Mhm.
probably a decade before I started Impound Comics. And the moment I started it, he wouldn't stop talking to me about Dragon Ball Z and Naruto, and he was getting on my damn nerve. I'm like, bro, where's this coming from? And he's just like, I didn't even know you were into this. He's like, nah, I didn't know you were into this. I didn't know I could talk to you about this. And then I was like, all right.
That's
I was like,
cool.
it's so random coming from you, but I'm with you. I get you. I hear where you're
That's
coming from. And
awesome.
now he's the main security guard at all my conventions. He comes dressed
Mhm.
up security guard in cosplay. And I think, you know, we did that for a decent amount of people very early on. I wasn't going to cons and things like that. It took a lot of courage for me to show that this is what I'm doing. I probably looked at the post 3 days in a row before I actually hit send, and the response from it immediately was positive,
Mhm.
and it's just became a part of just who we are. Like our convention, so many people come, especially people of color who I've never even thought about going into a convention until, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and again, it's like, I don't think I was conscious of that coming into it though. I was just going to do it for me. But it's been a part of our brand from the beginning. And I became conscious of it relatively quickly. And, it feeds a lot of what we do.
That's really cool. That's so cool to see it
Yeah.
develop in that kind of way, and to see it have a life of its own, and it start affecting other people in their own respective lives. What does he cosplay as, this big old security dude?
A lot of
What
times,
is his
whatever is the theme. So like
okay.
he'll have like the Dragon Ball Z, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
not like
But
the
he got
Goku,
like the
not the orange,
no,
kind of like
okay.
what Vegeta would wear, the Saiyan armor.
Okay. Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean? But
okay.
it would be like he'd have the Saiyan armor, but it would still have it would still be a security on it or something like, you know what I mean? So he doesn't
I
go
love
full
that.
cosplay, but he always would theme it around that,
That's awesome.
I'm trying to think of one that he came that was funny. Um, the Dragon Ball Z one was the first one that came to my mind. I don't remember what the other one was because it was a character from One Piece. I'm not
Okay.
familiar with One Piece. There's a really big
Yeah, I'm not
guy.
either. Okay.
I
I'm
I,
not a
I
One
want to
Piece
find
guy.
him so bad, but it was super funny. But yeah, he does it subtly, like tastefully. He doesn't
I
not
love
be
that.
security. I'm looking at the character right now and I don't know his name.
Okay.
But yeah.
That's
That
really
but
cool.
yeah,
I
he
love
kind of
that.
themes the whole thing around it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I just want to say also, I saw that you just passed 100,000 subscribers on YouTube,
Mhm.
which is absolutely incredible.
Thank
So I
you.
just want to say congratulations on that. And then I know you have over 500,000 on TikTok. We're talking about over half a billion.
Yeah.
A billion. That
Yeah.
is absolutely incredible. And that shows your hard work. I want to ask you what actually worked?
I didn't hear the last thing you said. What did you say?
What actually worked? What do you think got you to this point
It's a
from
mixture
those
of all of
huge
it. You know, it all
milestones?
works at different times. Like you can't keep putting out the same type of content for 2 years, a year. You can't even do it for 3 months. Your
Yeah.
content has to change. The algorithm gets tired of you. And I think I'm just really good at noticing when it's time to pivot again.
Okay.
Um, sometimes there'll be a month where this or that of characters is what the algorithm wants. Then there'll be another month where they want me to do battle debates where I'm saying this character beats these characters and this one and
Yeah.
this one. Then there's times where it's about Impound, where I can just start talking about all my books and characters and it's hitting. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. How do
it's
you
it's
know
never
when it how do you
yeah, it goes
know
in
when
and
it
out.
zigs and
It's a
yeah.
never ending up and down change, and it's just you keep doing different things, and then what's working, you stick with that one again, like I was saying earlier, until it stops working. Right now, obviously, Invincible is going to be a subject to talk about. It's back on. So,
Oh yeah.
I read
You're caught
Invincible.
up.
I'm doing comparisons of episodes in the books, and it's going viral right now. So you just have to be conscious and understanding of pivoting that after about a month or two of the same type of thing, it's gonna get sick of you.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's really cool.
And you
That's
actually
really
never know what's the next trend. You just keep throwing stuff, and like I said,
and seeing if it sticks.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, if someone is trying to build their own universe today, what's the biggest mistake that they could make?
Building a universe,
Mhm.
trying to build a universe, like just focus
I
on a
love that.
character and his story. Like you're trying to do the whole universe day one. That's probably that's what I would suggest not to do. like like you need to do every character individually, and you need to make sure you have a grounded story that makes sense here, and then you start
Mhm.
expanding as you start to go. But like I wouldn't suggest you start with a universe, you know what I mean? Start with an idea, and let it build out naturally.
Very good. All right. I want to switch gears for a little bit. This is going to be fun debate kind of stuff. The stuff that you do all the time on the road, but I wanted to pick your brain a little bit. All right. So, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. What is the best comic book of all time and why?
The best comic book of all time.
Sorry. What is the best comic book movie of all time and why?
So the best movie is Infinity War. And I think anybody who tries to say it's anything else, you're just trying to be different. It's Infinity War, right? My personal favorite is The Dark
Mhm.
Knight. But like there's people don't even understand how hard it is to put that many characters into one movie, and not only a lot of characters, like let's say for example, like James Gunn does it with the Guardians, he does it with Suicide Squad.
Right.
Only maybe one of those characters can carry a franchise. When we're talking about Infinity War, we're talking about 7 or 8 characters that are franchise carrying characters. We're talking Iron Man, we're talking Spider-Man, we're talking Thor, we're talking Hulk, we're talking all these characters to also be respected on screen as they work together and all have their own shine. That's the best, execution in comic book media of all time. But I'm a Joker fan. Heath Ledger's Joker. That's the one I'm taking every day if I'm doing it personally.
Do you remember the first time you saw Heath Ledger's Joker?
Mhm. Yeah,
How did,
100%. I remember the like being blown away by it. I remember thinking he was going to be a horrible Joker. I remember, I'd never seen anything like The Dark Knight. All the Batman movies before, for the most part, Batman Beginning was epic, but it didn't captivate me the same way. Like it was like it felt like they were trying to go a different direction, trying to
Mhm.
be more serious, but it hadn't really stuck yet. But The Dark Knight, it was just game changing. It changed everything. It changed what we wanted moving forward. Yeah, and Heath Ledger, again, he made me stop judging who's the actor until I see it. People always like, oh, what do you think this actor is going to do? I was like, I don't know. I need to watch it. I'm not going to talk about it before I see it because I don't want to be wrong anymore.
Is Christian Bell the best on-screen Batman of all time?
Absolutely not. But he's
Who
goaded though.
is? Who is?
The best on-screen Batman is Batfleck to me, Ben Affleck, and then Michael Keaton.
Why is Ben Affleck your
V-
goat on-screen Batman?
Visually, just he just looks like a beast. He has the best suit. Um, he was a victim of more of the writing. He should have had his own solo film. I always say I wish that Ben Affleck was Batman in The Dark Knight. I wish it was Batfleck and Heath Ledger. But I love Christian Bale, but he just captivates it. You know what I mean? Like that, he just looks too much like what I would imagine the best Batman looks like. I think a lot of other Batman, I look at them and I don't get past the fact that I know who the actor is, or something about it. Like, you're good, you did a great job, but Batfleck, man, that to me is the best Batman of all time.
Awesome. I love it. What is the most overrated comic book movie of all time? What is the
Overrated
most,
comic book
yeah,
movie?
most overrated where people absolutely love it and you're like, "Nah, it's not that good. It's not that
I
great."
think most comic book movies that have high ratings deserve it. There
Yeah.
aren't really too many that I would say are overrated. Underrated,
No.
absolutely.
Yeah. No,
Um,
no overglazed.
I would say realistic. I'm
Overglazed.
gonna be honest. Superman 2025 is probably the answer for me. Um, and I thought it was good, but I think people were just so happy to get rid of Zack Snyder that they're just overly raging about what that movie was. And honestly, I don't think it was that far off on how good it was, both in comparison. But that's probably the one that I say, like, yeah, they were just gonna say it's the best thing they ever saw, no matter what. Um, Underrated though, I would say.
Yeah. That was my
Age
next.
of Ultron seems to get a lot of hate.
Ooh, I love that
Um,
one.
I
It
love
grew
Age of
it
Ultron.
grew it grew. My love grew for that movie as time went on, and then with WandaVision and all that stuff, it kind of made that movie even better when you
Yeah,
go back.
yeah. I really wish the villain, the guy, the voice who played Ultron would have been around in more things. Maybe he'll come
Yeah.
back in Doomsday. We'll see. But
He's gonna be in Vision Quest. He's coming
oh,
back in
Vision
Vision
Quest.
Quest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll be fire. Yeah, that's fire.
Yeah. But man, I love the just the party scene alone where it's
Yeah,
like
it's classic.
classic, man. You got Stan Lee getting drunk on the
Yeah,
the Thor juice or whatever and be
like
like,
stop playing
Excelsior.
when and just give us the drink, and then he was super tore up after drinking it.
That was the best. Yeah, I love that. Oh, finger down and saying what up, Impound Comics.
What's going on? What's going on?
Um, what is the best superhero casting ever?
Casting? Heath Ledger. Superhero though?
Yeah,
Yeah, I would say I want to
Downey.
say RDJ. Yeah, I want to say RDJ. That's a tough one though. I do that question with people. Like I ask them which one's who's better, performance. But if I was to do maybe top three of superheroes, not including villains at all,
Mhm.
I would probably say RDJ, Wesley Snipes, um, and then I'm going to put Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds as the third.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, those are good ones. Yeah, I would say Patrick Stewart as Professor X is definitely up there
Yeah.
for me. Not
Yeah,
the
for
best.
sure.
I'm just saying he has to be in the conversation for
The
me.
only thing with him, and I agree, the only thing is I feel like the ones that I was naming, I can't see anybody else doing that. Versus I could see another Professor X. There already has
Who
been
who
another Professor X.
who
You know
could
what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
But
Who could
but
you see as a modern day Professor X?
like someone who's not in first class, because I would still say him.
Yeah, yeah, not James McAvoy. Yeah.
Um, like so, like we're talking older Professor X.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
Okay.
It's not on the
I
top of my head.
I think
You know who?
G-
Okay, you know who I just thought of, but although I don't know.
okay.
I'm just
Let's see.
randomly doing this,
Let's
but
see.
I don't know the actor's name, but from Breaking Bad.
Oh, Bryan Cranston.
Yeah,
He's good. He's good.
he's
I mean,
bald. He's bald as Heisenberg.
Bryan Cranston is a dude that could play Professor X or Magneto. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
or
Like
Magneto.
I could
Yeah, yeah.
I could see also I was also gonna name a Breaking Bad character, Giancarlo Esposito. I could see
I
him
could, but I
as
don't want to see that. I ain't gonna lie.
I know, but he always is a villain. You know what I'm saying? Like we
He
gotta switch it up.
he has it. He would have he absolutely could
The voice, you know.
perform it.
Hmm.
I want to. It's like I don't know. I'm over. It's like Giancarlo. They're talking about Giancarlo and Denzel. I
Yeah,
ain't gonna
that's
lie.
a
I want
big
them to
one.
play. I want them to bring a new black character to the forefront. Don't just swap over to that. I'd rather
No,
see
no,
them
definitely
bring
not. Yeah, yeah,
someone
yeah.
deserving forward than to do that. But they would kill it if they did it.
They
But I
would.
don't. I don't. I prefer not.
You're not a fan of the okay, I see.
I used to be
Uh
okay with it. I used to be. I think I'm exhausted with it now.
what is the worst superhero casting ever?
Worst superhero casting?
Mm-hmm.
I
You want me to
love
start?
I
Yeah.
love what he
You
does after and I love everything around it, but Michael B. Jordan as the Human
Human
Torch.
Torch.
That whole cast though, it's not a him thing.
It's
I didn't
wrong.
like that whole
It's all
movie. Yeah. 2015 Fantastic Four is the worst.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one for worse for sure. I don't know why I was going to the dude that played Vinnie Jones. He played Juggernaut in X-Men Last Stand. I just
Oh, you don't
thought,
like him?
oh
I
my God.
thought he was cool.
He's like, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. I'm like, oh my God, bro.
I didn't know people didn't like The Last Stand until I got on
And,
TikTok. I've always
yeah,
loved that movie. That's like a movie that like I realized later. I was like, oh, people don't like this movie. News to me. That and Spider-Man 3. They
really,
weren't my
Spider-Man 3.
favorites or anything, but I liked them.
Okay, so when you saw Spider-Man 3 in theaters, you were like, this is sick.
Yeah, I thought it was
Love
dope.
this.
I didn't like. There's parts about it I didn't like. Like I love
You
Venom
like
and
this
I
part?
hated the Venom in there, but the whole that part it was just like what's going on, but it didn't bother me to as much. That part is actually the most iconic part almost of the Spider-Man franchise now.
It
And
is. It
and
now
then
now it is.
but the fact that they ended up fighting together at the end, like the way it came full circle, I thought it was very well written. I just thought that there was just
Too
sketchy
much.
parts.
Too much going on, maybe because it's notoriously known that the studio forced him to put Venom in it. That was
Yeah,
not his original idea, and he said it just kind of felt overstuffed.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. All right. Now we're gonna go to your classic fights. Okay, fight night, super fight night. All right, full prep time. Who wins? Iron Man versus Batman.
Iron Man,
Really? Why?
10 out of 10. Iron Man is beating him. What version are we even talking?
I don't know. I mean, you could just go Robert Downey and Endgame. I don't know. Like you could go
Well, he's beating every Batman of any kind.
because the nanotechnology or
He
look at
invented, he
Lucas.
knows how to time
Lucas is like
travel.
wrong.
He knows how to time travel.
That's true. That's true.
It's like, what are we talking about? And if we're talking about in the comic books, he has a element called Mysterium. It's invulnerable to magic, EMP, strength, whatever. Dog, the Batman overhyping. He's nuking Wayne Manor from outer space. Get out of my face.
All right. What about Iron Man 1 Iron Man versus Batman?
Iron Man.
Really? Why?
Because you're talking about movie Batman.
Sure.
Which Batman is gonna stop him when he's 100 out of sight in the clouds shooting bombs at him? How does he stop that?
I don't know. I mean, dude
He
took
can't. That's the
dude took Superman's laser eyes with his wrists. Remember?
Yeah, I remember he defeated a Superman that wasn't trying to hurt him. I remember that. And at the end of the day, that now you're talking about, right, one character prepped for the other. You asked me if they both prepared for each other. That suit that he fought Superman with isn't going to do anything to Tony Stark. He can shoot straight in his mouth. He can have a heat-seeking missile hit him right in the mouth. like that suit sucked. That suit really, all it did was, if he got slapped, his bones didn't break, right? But it didn't do anything. Superman could have ripped it off of him at any point in time that he wanted to. But it's like, that's the best he got. How would that suit compete with Hulkbuster suit?
Okay. That's true.
Where he physically overpowered the Hulk, not prepared like his weakness.
That's true. That is true. All right, who would win?
The Batman glaze has to stop, bro. Like anyone who says that, it's just glaze, bro. It's just glaze. Time travel, Hulkbuster suit.
They always say though, with prep time though, Batman has prep time. Remember that's what they always say, right?
That's cool, right? But you're talking about the movie version. What preparation did he do in any of the movies that would outrank time travel? You know what I mean? And the Hulkbuster suit.
Well,
like, you know what I mean?
If it wasn't the movie version, if it was just Batman straight up, you know what I mean? Like just Batman, right? You could even go, oh man, what's the new Batman? The big ass one. The, with the.
So now we're talking comics?
What?
We're talking comics now?
Yeah.
So you're probably talking about like the Hellbat suit, maybe.
What's the newest Batman? The big ass.
Oh,
thank you, Lucas. Absolute. Yeah, absolute Batman.
I mean, the comic book version of Batman will always have a chance for sure. You know what I mean? Like you can't just write it off. Like you can't just write it off to that degree. Like it could go either way regardless, right? For me, I'm still going Tony. Here's the thing. If they got into a fist fight, now let's say Bruce Wayne fights Tony Stark in hand-to-hand combat. Tony Stark doesn't have a chance. He doesn't remotely have a chance, right? He can't beat Batman in a fight. He just doesn't have that. But when we talk about all of their intelligence and technology involved, Iron Man's technology, for the most part, is just better than Batman's technology.
That's a good point, yeah. And he's a lot smarter too. I mean, he's absolutely brilliant. You know,
I'm not gonna just necessarily say he's a lot smarter.
Are you kidding? Tony invented time travel, bro.
Batman he is smarter in my eyes, but not all the time. Batman is insanely intelligent, but
he's not like Mr. Terrific intelligent. Mr. Terrific is like
he's not that smart, though.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I feel like Mr. Terrific is and Tony are on those intellectual like top parts. Mr. Terrific is obviously smarter than Tony, but you know what I'm saying? Like that intellectual, like Reed Richards, like that upper echelon. I don't think Batman is like that. You know what I mean?
I think when we say like more so like Reed and Mr. Terrific, we're kind of talking about, that's to me is kind of like the smartest people
100
And then
in comics.
Tony and Batman kind of fall like a small class under. I would say
Really?
Tony is a
Tony is
more
on the
intelligent
same as
engineer, but I
uh-huh.
can't say he's just more intelligent in all regards of intelligence than Batman. Um,
Interesting. Bro
but I
invented
do
time
just
travel
think I do think he does have better technology for the most part,
for
where
sure.
Tony physically builds all of his stuff himself, and Batman
Right.
builds a lot of it himself, but not all of it.
Fox. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Lucius. All right. Who wins in a fight, Superman or the Incredible Hulk?
I usually would. I probably would never say that Superman loses to any strength character in brute strength, and then the
What?
Hulk is my favorite character. But like,
Really?
I think Superman is the strongest, hero in fiction. So I would go that way most times, unless they write him in a way that he's, kryptonite cripples them or something like that. But like pure brute strength, I usually will always say Superman. Over
Superman.
time, though.
Okay. It'll take some time, but Superman in the end will
Yeah.
beat the
There's
Hulk.
there's no
Okay.
character that I would say in physical strength is beating Superman if it's a straight up physical brawl. You know what I mean? Like it has to be some sort of, kryptonite type of thing involved. But I would always pick the Man of Steel.
Who would win in a fight? Daredevil or Batman?
More likely Batman. I think Daredevil has a high chance. But I think if I was to do it out of 10, it's Batman for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But Batman's definitely a better martial artist. And Daredevil always just has the sonar enhancement that can help him. But I'm going Batman.
Okay. I like it. All right. Who would win in a fight? She-Hulk or Wonder Woman?
Wonder Woman.
Why is that?
She just more battle experience. They're on par with strength. Like Wonder Woman is cleaning her out. She-Hulk is fully just relying on punching her as hard as she can. And if Wonder Woman could take punches from Superman, she could take punches from She-Hulk.
100%. What is the best superhero TV series of all time?
Daredevil, the live action.
Do you want to split them up? You want to go first live action and then animated?
Live action for me, it's Daredevil, the Netflix Daredevil, or I love The Boys. I'm not gonna lie, I love that show. I would say most live action shows, I'm kind of like usually they're cool. There's not too many I'm addicted to on that level.
Yeah.
I did a video one time. I was like, there isn't a single superhero live action show that I would even put top 10 of my favorite shows of all time in general.
Wow.
Not
But
even
Daredevil,
close.
you're saying yes. Daredevil, yes.
That's
Could
my
get,
favorite of that genre. Yes,
but
I'm
could
not
it
putting it in
sneak
my
into
top
your
10.
top
No,
10? No.
hell no.
Okay.
We're talking about like
Okay.
Breaking Bad and The Wire and Game of Thrones and
Sopranos. Yeah.
Sopranos, like those
Yeah.
type of shows. I look at that as a completely different league that the superhero genre and live action is not. It's we've had some great media, but no.
Your mind went to when I asked you what is the greatest live action superhero show of all time. You said Daredevil on Netflix. In your mind, what makes Daredevil on Netflix such a great show?
It was just perfect for who Daredevil is. It was captivating, and I think it was also one of the first live action shows in the comic book space. I'm not gonna say it is, but in the comic book space that felt more like a movie as well, versus
Mhm.
a lot of live action superhero shows before or around that time, even now, feel like television. You know what I mean? Smaller budget, cloth costumes that, a little bit more cheesy to it. The Daredevil Netflix show kind of for me had the Dark Knight feel, like changed the direction that we have to go in, and it was just perfect casting, perfect storytelling. Like they just did a
Oh
really good
yeah.
job with it.
Yeah, Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin is arguably one of the best
I just said that on a video
casted
today.
really, yeah, one of the best casted villains in a superhero series of all time. And
Kingpin probably is my number one for live action villains. And I'm not gonna lie, the other one is Homelander.
I mean, Homelander, it's incredible that these two characters, Homelander and Vincent D'Onofrio, Anthony Starr as Homelander and Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin, have never been nominated when they are literally the best villains,
Yeah.
arguably in TV history. It's absolutely
People hate
insane
Homelander and they don't realize you hate him so much because he's doing
good.
such a great job.
100%.
I love that character. Like there's like, yeah, Homelander is, it's easy to hate on the new guys or the newer characters, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But Anthony Starr as Homelander is phenomenal.
He's a star.
Yeah.
No, that was bad.
Yeah. No, you made it.
Who has a brighter future in the movies, Marvel or DC?
It depends on how Brand New Day and Doomsday do.
Bro, they're gonna be $2 billion films each.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, but if people, not how they're gonna do performance wise, if people like them, you know what I mean?
Critically?
Like,
Yeah.
if they're good, it's the ball is going immediately back to Marvel. If they're mid, DC has the opportunity to do it. Because I love the direction that James Gunn has been going in, but it's still a little in the air. But I would say, Marvel has a little bit more of that trust because I would say this, it seems like DC fans don't let DC be great. I think it's absolutely insane that Superman 2025 didn't hit $1 billion. I thought for sure it would. And
Yeah.
it's DC, sometimes their fans are their worst enemies.
No, 100%. 100%.
So
what
hype wise, Marvel already has the advantage, but they've just have been so hit or miss with projects. But it's still a little early to say because, like I said, I thought Superman was going to hit $1 billion.
But you
I
didn't
think
like
it made
it,
it
you
to
said,
like
right?
600 million.
Did you like it or you
I
just
like it?
you
Yeah, I
just
liked it. I just thought some people were overhyping it. But yeah, it was
overhyping
good.
it,
I
saying it's
love
the
James Gunn as a director.
Yeah, he's fantastic. He
Yeah.
really is. What is the most excited DC project coming out for you?
DC project? I'm really excited for Supergirl.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more excited for Supergirl than the Lanterns, I'd say.
Or Clayface?
Nah, I don't give a damn about Clayface. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna watch it, but like I don't. But like I said though, I don't judge it because I didn't give a damn about the Guardians until I did. James Gunn is the guy for if it's a character you don't really care about, give it a chance.
Because he might make you care about him. Yeah,
exactly. I didn't give a damn about Peacemaker. I didn't know anything about him. I love Peacemaker now.
Yeah, I love Peacemaker, especially that first season. I thought was really good. Second season, not as strong, but overall, I really enjoyed it.
You know I loved the second season. I just thought the finale was weak.
Yeah, I thought the finale was not strong at all.
Yeah.
What do you think about James Gunn taking the DCU in the Salvation Planet direction that we saw at the end of Peacemaker?
Like I said, I honestly haven't thought about it to be honest. I like to just wait and see. I trust his judgment. So I don't look at it like this is the way you should be doing it, James. You know what I mean? I kind of just if that's the direction we're going in, I kind of just sit and wait and watch. And if I end up not liking it, I'll be like, you probably should have did it like this. But I'm not, he has my trust. So if that's the way he wants to go in there, I trust that he sees something that we need to see.
Okay. I like it. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? So if one of your characters entered the MCU or the DCU, where do you think they would fit the best? In the MCU, your characters that you created, or the DC? Comics wise, right?
I mean, I think it depends on what character they're next to. Like my characters are gorier, so if you would buy Deadpool, that'd be cool. But I don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think probably naturally more like DC though, but maybe not this DC because this DC isn't darker. but
No, it's
but
very
um
bright.
you know, I put my characters more closer to like a Mortal Kombat invincible level. So
Okay.
I don't really see the current where I would want it, because I would want it to be Deadpool. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. I-
Logan,
yeah. In
but
Impound
not
and
as a whole. Like
Daredevil?
I don't want the
Could
happiness of it, you know?
could you see Impound in like Daredevil?
No. Mm.
No.
Too big of a
Okay.
power difference there.
Yeah.
I think Daredevil's too grounded for Impound.
Too
Impound to
grounded.
me has to be a little bit more um in kind of like the like around like a Captain Marvel, lanterns level of kind of characters. I think him, in the streets of like Hell's Kitchen, that would just, he's too powerful for that. I made him like stronger than hand to hand combat characters.
Okay. I like it.
Mhm.
Um, Marvel, the MCU is going to be coming out with the X-Men finally
Mhm.
in the MCU. How would you do the X-Men in the MCU for their first story, their first introduction?
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
I don't think about doing Marvel DC stuff at all. If I was to do it, I would make sure it's the worst thing that people have ever seen, because I would want Marvel to crash and burn so that Impound Comics can rise. The
Okay.
last thing that I think about is how to make them more successful.
You don't
I
want
don't
that
know.
movie
Like
universe to be you don't want that you're going to watch it, right? You don't want that movie universe to be good?
I said it before on my live. Like yeah, I want to watch a good movie, right?
Yeah.
But if Marvel and DC announced bankruptcy tomorrow, I would not be upset. I'd be like,
Yeah.
okay, it's our time to shine. So like I just don't think about um you know what I mean? Like how could I make them successful? I don't think
Yeah, no,
about
no, no,
that.
definitely, definitely. But there is hopes that I have when it comes to Marvel finally incorporating such a big comic like X-Men into the MCU, something that we've been waiting for a long time. So when I think about how I would want to see them represented, I mean, I think it all really goes back to the X-Men animated series, how well that was done, that it felt soapy, it felt lived in. It was really about the relationships between these people, that any one of them could have their own spin-off, and they didn't make Cyclops a jobber, Jean Grey a jobber. It really felt like each of these could have their own story, but they happen to all be together, and you want to see them interact. So I guess for me, my hope would be that when they incorporate it, I want the X-Men to feel like lived in. I want to see people come in and out of there. I want to see Spider-Man drop by the X Mansion. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I guess that's really what I mean when I envision it. I mean, of course, I want Impound to be its own
Now you
movie
talking.
cinematic universe. You know what I'm saying? Like I want that
But it's
for
like I
sure.
think I've gotten to a point where I know I have a long way to go.
Yeah,
But it's like it
but it's
would be
possible.
like
It's
right now asking Kevin Feige, how does he think DC should move forward? You know what I mean? And like, it's like, I don't know.
yeah. Right. I'm
Like,
not giving them the secrets.
yeah, it's like, I don't know, like,
Well,
bomb. I don't know. Give them the worst thing that you could think of. And,
well, I
and obviously I'm not on that level, but
not yet.
yeah, I just stopped thinking like that. You know what I'm saying? Like when I go, I
Yeah,
want
because
to
you got your
be
own sandbox that you're trying. Like
and when I go to the movies, I want to see a great movie. But
that's it. Period. Yeah.
yeah, it kind of just ends like that's my experience of a fandom. But I stopped trying to predict things in the MCU and stuff like that, unless of course I'm doing it like content wise. But
Yeah.
if I could
Yeah.
pick, man,
This
all
is
honesty, me
content
to you, if I
wise.
could pick, they could keep making bad films, and that makes you would be surprised how many people say, I'm gonna check out your universe because I'm sick of what Marvel's doing. And I say,
Okay.
Come on down. We still care
We're
over
here.
here. We're not just
Doors
throwing random
open.
stuff out. We're trying to make the best story as possible.
What makes your universe
I think
different
I got
from Marvel
Evan,
and
I gotta
DC?
I think my phone might I have to I'm probably gonna have to not use this mic so I can plug in my phone.
Okay, that's okay.
The audio will change though.
That's okay. Let's
Okay, hold
test
on.
it out. Can you hear me though right now? Oh, you can still hear me though? Yeah. Let's see how this audio goes.
You hear me?
Oh, I can hear you, but I can hear myself too.
So yeah, I had to switch to the
It's not that bad though.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not that bad.
It's a good phone. Good phone, man.
What makes your universe different from Marvel or DC?
Obviously I think we naturally kind of have like the the culture involved type of idea. Like, it's a different face pushing the charge on what is traditional. I think it's different. You know, in a lot of ways, I'm still inspired by Marvel and DC, right? So it's different because I would put my own different in every single character. There's always something as an author that you can just do from your own experiences that naturally makes it different. Of course, it's a superhero story. There's going to be a villain. There'll be a love interest. There's going to be all those things, but I think it's just refreshing of you don't know me, and you're kind of like getting some of me in these stories that's different than what you've already gotten before. We're starting in a time where we don't have to adjust a character to the time. You know what I mean? Who Superman was in the 40s and the 60s and the 70s, and modernizing him today and changing him, is either a good thing or a bad thing for a lot of people versus, we're putting you in this time right now. And that's very more natural. But I think a lot of it is again just a different perspective that I don't think has been a perspective of Marvel and DC for most of their existence. That they're trying to emulate now.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
What's next for Impound Comics?
always more books. That's always next, no matter what. Yeah.
Yep.
Trying to elevate our convention and trying to get that move into production, into getting our production side moving, which we've already started. With we have a documentary coming out next year. We shot a horror film, which isn't necessarily our comic books, but it's to be able to start just being able to show studios we have the ability to create productions. So more books in a bigger step in that direction.
Can you tell the audience a little bit about VerseCon?
VerseCon is a Comic Con, for the most part in a skeleton
All right,
shell.
done.
It's always
No,
gonna
I'm just
be
kidding.
it's gonna be that, right? But it's definitely unique being a convention organized by an indie comic book company. We always do special releases for our universe there. So VerseCon kind of also has like an Impound Con type of thing where, where you go to San Diego Comic Con, there's the Hall H, VerseCon will always be our version of Hall H, as our universe continues to grow. And we do a lot of, making sure we highlight other artists and other indies and other creators like ourselves. So it's not just about us.
Awesome. I love that. This is just the beginning, it seems. Impound Comics is building something big, unique, and special. And I really appreciate you diving into your background, where you came from, how you got into this. I'm surprised you didn't even mention Sacramento. Not once. Sacktown. Your
Yeah, I mean, that's where I'm
hometown.
born and raised.
Yeah, that's where it all started. But it's been really awesome, and I really love it. I want to transition a little bit because I know we're going to get into some topics, and then we're going to get you out of here. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a taste of the Evan edition, if you will. And we got some big topics that came out last week. And so why don't we just jump right into it? So I'm going to intro it and then we'll get into it. Okay.
Cool.
Awesome. As a lot of you guys know, um, for many years now, Dune has been considered one of the most popular sci-fi trilogies, if you will. The first one came out during the pandemic, and as we know, they dumped it onto HBO Max. It didn't really have that, big premiere that they wanted. And just a couple years ago, Dune Chapter 2 came out, and it was received very well by the audience, by critics, by the awards, not director for Denis Villeneuve, but it was so well received that people were clamoring for the conclusion of what Dune will be. And we finally got the trailer for Dune last week, which dropped suspiciously the day after Timothée Chalamet lost at the Oscars to Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
This comes to us from Los Angeles Times. They say there's still 9 months to go before audiences can return to Arrakis. Until then, Warner Brothers has released a trailer to hold us over. Dune Part 3, which takes place nearly 2 decades after the events of the sequel, promises more political upheaval, introduces a ruthless new villain, and teases Paul and Shawnee's future child. Dune stars Zendaya and Javier Bardem, and has now since been joined by newcomers Anya Taylor-Joy and Robert Pattinson. And they did a huge presentation as an AMC event while Chalamet and Florence Pugh and Jason Momoa sent in messages. They kicked off this bad boy in a big bad way. I know you got a chance to watch the trailer because I was with you while you were watching it before we hit record. I know you're not the biggest Dune movie fan, but how did you feel about watching the trailer?
I mean, it looks dope. Looks like Dune. I'm always like I said, when I go, because I'm definitely gonna watch that. I'm watching Doomsday and Dune at the same day, if not before. Yeah, right. But it looks like it's going to be much more exciting. Dune cinematically and visually, I would say, has probably always has been the most superior film in the last decade visually, and it looks like it's Avatar, but it's right there with it. But I'm excited for it, bro. I really am. I watched the first two, and I still am questioning though on why they decided to stick to dropping the same day as Doomsday. But it is what it is at this point.
Yeah, that is interesting. And we're going to get into Doomsday in a second because it is quite interesting that it seems like we are full steam ahead with these two monster of a movies going head to head in the theaters. I want to ask you, I know you were talking a little bit about this before the show started. And you said something really great when you said like a really great line about how people want the comparisons to Star Wars, and that there was this kind of, well, why can't Star Wars be like this, and why is Dune trying to be the better stuff like that. I'm just wondering, when you watched Dune 1 and 2, did you feel like this gave you Star Wars vibes? This is something that maybe Star Wars should try in the vein of like something a little bit more serious, something a little bit more darker? Or do you think that these two should not be related? Star Wars should do its own thing, Dune should do his own thing? Or where did that really come from?
I mean, I don't think it's a secret that Star Wars was inspired by Dune in a lot of ways.
Oh, yeah.
Anakin
right up here.
Yeah, no, yes. And I think, it's conscious of that, of course you're gonna get that Star Wars vibes because Star Wars kind of got the vibes from Dune originally, at least in Tatooine, at least. But the I just don't think Dune is more exciting than Star Wars. I don't think the characters are more compelling. I don't think it's cooler in any way. I just feel like This though, I feel like he says, "Wow, Dune was before Star Wars." That's what we said. But
I know. No,
but
I don't know. He might be being sarcastic. I also 100%.
oh, he might be saying,
Later
"Wow, he
me.
didn't know that."
Yeah, yeah. He either might be saying, "Oh
Yeah, Dune
wow,
is
like
before Star Wars.
Dune was before Star Wars," or he might being like, "Oh wow, Dune was before Star Wars." Like, so I don't know. Raider, tell us what you think. Did you
But
not know that?
I think,
Because a lot of people don't know how old Dune actually is. A lot of
yeah,
people, these Denis Villeneuve movies are their. They didn't even know about the David Lynch one. This is brand new to them. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
Raider could be not sarcastic. I don't know.
yeah. But I think that when it comes down to it, I think the people who make Dune care about Dune more than the people who are making Star Wars. I think the people who are making Star Wars are just trying to make it fun and they're trying to make some money and they're pushing it
Yeah.
forward. But you know, I just still feel like Dune just doesn't have the soul to me. It just something about it. It's just not better in my mind.
Do you think a Star Wars movie in the vein of Dune, right? Little
Like more
bit more
serious.
prestige,
Mhm.
more serious storytelling, something, if you use Knights of the Old Republic, something like that to tell a more Dune serious type story, do you think that could work? And do you think they could
Absolutely.
that would sell well to a general audience seeing Star Wars in this kind of way?
Yeah, I think that would be phenomenal. I hope that they do it one day. It's just, we'll see with Disney, right? I mean, I don't imagine it, but nah, that'd be phenomenal to do like one of the old Republic movies and make it much darker. But yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon.
Yeah. Let's get into what you were talking about because I think, you know, it's a pretty big deal that we have Doomsday and Dune Part 3 dropping on the same weekend going head to head. And I know you asked earlier, why didn't Dune flinch? And the reason is because they have those IMAX screens locked up for over 3 weeks, and they don't want to vacate them. And as we know, Doomsday was supposed to come out in May of this year and it got pushed to December. So they kind of lost out on getting those IMAX screens. Just to give you some background there, I want to ask you though, is this a good thing having Doomsday and Dune in the theaters at the same time? Some theater owners are thinking that it might be better to, share the wealth, right? Get more people in the theaters at different times. Or do you think that this event could be something really great for the theaters and for us fans?
I think if you're a fan of both, it's a good thing. I think for Doomsday, it doesn't matter. They're going to do what they're going to do regardless. I think the only thing at risk is Dune. I think Dune might do would be better off on a different day. Um, but that's what I think. I'm going to watch them both,
Mm-hmm.
but I think the only potential option of the short end of the stick is Dune. I think Doomsday is going to do what it's going to do no matter what it's competing against.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I think by now both these have a built-in audience, so
Yeah.
the movies are going to be fine regardless. I think what they're hoping for is a Barbenheimer situation where it just elevates both
Yeah,
movies and
like
it
everyone is just watching both of them, which is a
100%.
possibility. But
It is.
like
It
I
is.
said, I don't think that it will elevate Doomsday. I think Doomsday, it doesn't matter what day it's on, it doesn't matter who it's competing against. The number that it's destined to hit is the number it's going to hit regardless. For Dune, it's either I think them alone still would have been better.
Mhm.
And it still could hit that number, but it might suffer a little bit. Especially because I mean, especially now, I think it's getting worse and worse because I think Dune, the economy is getting worse every day. Gas is going up. People are having less money, and going to a movie theater is extremely expensive now. So I think a lot of people are going to be put in a situation where they have to choose, especially if they're a big family. And I think most people are going to choose Doomsday.
Man, you're making me sad. I hope gas drops by December, dude.
And
I'll
I
be
just went
very
by the gas station earlier, man. It hit $7 in California in
Woo!
some parts.
That is wild, man. Yeah, I put $20 and it was like this in my
Yeah.
in my gas.
Downtown LA, there's a gas station that's 8.
Wow, that's crazy. That's wild.
So
Yeah, we need the spice
yeah,
from Dune, dude, from Arrakis, bro. We need the spice.
we'll
You know,
see.
looking at the trailer, we can obviously see that this is gonna take a very dark turn.
Mhm.
And we see, obviously, from the picture here with our boy Timothy, that he's going the Anakin Skywalker route. On top of that, as mentioned previously, we got new cast members in here, one of which Robert Pattinson, who's looking all kinds of whitey and weird in the in the
Like
in
an
the
android on
trailer.
the Aliens franchise.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. He's looking like David for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, what do you think about Robert Pattinson's year of 2026 coming out with Dune 3,
Mhm.
um, the
The
drama,
Batman.
yeah, but the Batman's 2027, and then the Odyssey as well. He's
Yeah.
having a stellar year. Do you think where Robert Pattinson at is now with the Batman, with the Batman 2 coming out soon, do you think he is more of a box office draw and that it elevates Dune even more?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Robert Pattinson was an amazing Batman. I think I thought he did a fantastic job as Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Um, I think the Doom franchise, like you said, it was probably going to be what it's going to be also with or without him. I don't know if it's like how big of an extra draw it is,
Right.
but I think the year that he's going to have is going to be one of the ones to compete with the goats. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah.
Odyssey is probably the that's probably I'm most excited for that, probably more than anything else.
To see just the goats of the year of him just like stacking these box office wins, and in return, I mean, Zendaya is going to have a
Yeah,
huge year because
yeah.
we're going to get into it in a
She's having
second.
another huge year.
It's insane. And these two, Zendaya and Robert P, are in 3 movies together this year. So,
And Euphoria is coming out.
bro, I can't wait. Are you a
Mhm.
Euphoria guy?
Yeah, I like Euphoria. Euphoria's
Yeah, I like
dope.
that. I like that show a lot. And I caught on to it later. I was like, I don't want to see like high school kids, like blah blah blah. And then people are like, no, you don't understand. It's like one, they're older, they're not like actual high school kids, and two, the storytelling is fantastic. And then I
Yeah,
watched it with my wife, and we were like, damn, give me more.
yeah,
Give me more Zendaya in everything. I think should just be the mantra, because
yeah. She's fine.
anything that she is in, she elevates, and her as Rue is absolutely iconic. That one episode where she's on that binge and just going through running from the cops. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like
Yeah, absolutely.
into
Yeah,
people's homes and stuff. That was wild. That
yeah.
was fantastic, dude.
No, Zendaya's dope, man.
Well, overall, I'm really excited for Dune series. To be honest, my Dune of it all, it's not that in depth. I didn't read the books. I only saw I can't even think right now. The 80s, the Fincher, or sorry, the David Lynch Dune from the 80s. Did you ever see that?
I never did actually.
Okay.
It was one of those things that I was gonna go back and watch it. I just never got around to it. I might still do it, but I had
It's
never
wild.
seen that one now.
I would give it a watch. I mean, it's definitely out there, but you
Mhm.
could see what they're going for, where they're coming from. What I would recommend to you, which is fantastic, is a documentary called Jodorowsky's Dune.
Yeah.
And this is I believe he's a Mexican filmmaker, and he makes films that are just like, they're weird as heck, but every scene is like a piece of art. Like, it's insane how his mind works. And he had the rights to Dune before that 80s movie. And
Yeah.
he was going to cast like his son as Paul Atreides. And he had this book of all these images from Mobius. You know, do you know Mobius, the artist that did like the original Alien
Yeah.
designs and stuff like that?
Yeah.
And so he did all these designs for the movie. And Denise said that he has that that he got to look at that Bible. And it's just about a movie that never was, kind of like the death of Superman. There's a movie about like the death of Superman Lives, whereas like the movie that never was. It is fantastic. I highly recommend it. Jodorowsky's Dune, really good doc.
I'll definitely check it out.
Awesome, guys. Well, let us know what you guys think. Did you see the trailer for Dune 3, and did it do its job and take that excitement and bump it up, or you need to see a little bit more? And could this, put Timothée Chalamet back on top? Maybe. Drop a comment below and let us know your guys' thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, I wanted to get into this. Don't worry, brother. We are going to get you out of here soon. I know you've been on here long, but we got to get into Spider-Man Brand New Day, because for the longest time, we've been asking, where is the trailer? We got a synopsis. We got a trailer breakdown. We got a leaked trailer that looked terrible, but we were wondering, when are we finally going to get the trailer? And so it finally dropped last week. And for me personally, I thought it was absolutely incredible. From the look of it, from the interactions with Frank, it really had people talking about it. So much so that it is now the most watched trailer in 24 hours at over 700 million views. This comes to us from the GWW. They say Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer is out now, and it's already breaking records around the world. It shows fans what Peter Parker's life is like now that No Way Home is over. It's a darker, more street-level story. The movie will come out on July 31st, 2026. And it showed us a lot of stuff. I wanted to ask you, Brent, were you able to see the trailer for Spider-Man Brand New Day? And if so, what did you think about it?
I saw Bruce Banner was back as Bruce Banner and not Professor Hulk. So that was exciting. I think me and all other Hulk fans are sick of Professor Hulk. He overstayed his welcome. So I'm hoping it's the return of Savage Hulk. And that's all I would care about to make it a great film, at least for me, in that point. But I love that Punisher's in it. I think that's going to be fire. It has, to me, in my mind, just based off of the trailer, potentially to be one of the greater Spider-Man movies so far. So I definitely think it's going to be, at least I'm hoping, Tom Holland's best Spider-Man movie. But yeah, we'll see. I'm excited to see this one, though.
No, I have the same sentiments. When we were talking about greatest castings of all time, I actually am mad at past Evan for not mentioning John Bernthal as the Punisher, because I think that is one of the best comic book castings of all time. The way that John Bernthal embodies Frank Castle's Punisher, it's so lived in. It's so straight ripped from the comics. His attitude, the way that he yells and pumps himself up as he's fighting to like get that rage going, to get through all the beat up bruises, all the stabbing, shootings, all the things that he goes through. It's just so iconic and so representative of that character. And on top of that, John Bernthal really pays respect to veterans when he plays Frank Castle. He the way that they play with like PTSD, all that stuff, and how he doesn't, use that as an excuse for why he's punishing that is real people's problems, and he's not going to use that to justify why he's doing this, that's not him, that he has friends and he knows people that are suffering from those things, and you're not going to put that on him to justify why he's doing those things. In the way that he goes about it and represents that and represents that world, and it's just second to none, and you could tell the love and the care that he puts into that. Were you a fan of the Punisher TV series? Were you able to see
Yeah,
that?
absolutely. I love that show. That whole Netflix run,
World?
other than I didn't really care for the Defenders, but their solo stories for the most part, I loved them. Punisher is definitely in that conversation. I wish that there was more than just that one season.
I totally agree. I mean, there's 2 seasons. You saw
Uh,
both, right? Punisher?
I feel like I had to.
Okay. If you should double check, because the second
Yeah,
season
it's like,
the
yeah,
second
maybe if it was two,
the
it's like
second
I feel like
season
I
is
had to. I don't know why I wouldn't have watched it.
the second season is like, it starts with him at a bar. He runs into a girl on the run and ends up
Oh,
getting
yeah, I
caught
did
up in
see
that
that one.
story,
Yeah, and he's like
helping her
protecting this
out.
girl the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
did see that. I don't know why I mushed them together as one season, but yeah, I did see that
Okay.
one. No, his show is John in general. I will watch something just because he's in it. I was a huge
Same.
fan of The Walking Dead. I
You
actually was
can't
on his
save him,
side.
Rick. You
Yeah,
can't save him, Rick.
Wolf of Wall Street. All like I love John Berthal for sure. But
I feel the
he's
same
he's
way.
definitely one of the best castings in general. It's just the fact that he hadn't been in a movie yet as Punisher. I think that
Till
always
now.
limits what they say, but this will be that breakout.
Did you like, it's a small dose of what we're gonna get, and there's always this argument: R-rated, can't go to PG-13.
Yeah.
They're gonna water him down. Which, if you saw Born Again, they definitely didn't water him down when it came to the fight scenes, which were extremely brutal and epic. Um, did you like what you saw about how they're playing with that, with the Punisher in this? He's about to say the F word and he gets his mouth, webbed up and stuff like that. Do you think, based on what you're seeing in the trailer, that they figured out a way to use Frank in that extreme rated R kind of mentality, and put him in a more PG-13 Spider-Man movie?
Um, I think they're still probably gonna PG-13 him for sure. And I think that's fine. It's kind of like just like the Wolverine thing where eventually we got Logan and we got to like see more of the brutal Wolverine. I don't think
Oh yeah.
that part of it never bothers me as long as it's still kind of done well. I just hope eventually, maybe they can get back to when it's just him, that they understand that this needs to be rated R.
No,
I would
definitely.
expect that with Spider-Man.
I would expect that too. I definitely expect that too. And speaking of the darker tone, having Punisher in here definitely kind of signals that we are going to get a Spider-Man movie that isn't as bright, that isn't as, hey, Mr. Stark, what can I
Yeah.
do for you? That kind. Really, having Punisher in here is signaling to the audience, we're going to go a little bit darker. We're going to have a little bit more adult, mature Spider-Man. We didn't get to really talk about this. Were you a fan of the Home trilogy and of Tom Holland as Spider-Man?
It's okay. I like Tom Holland a lot as Spider-Man, but the
Yeah.
trilogy's okay. I was fine with Homecoming. I hate Far From Home. I hate that movie. Like it's one of my most hated films. And then No Way Home was fun. It was good. It was fun to watch. I watched it probably like 2 days ago again. Very nostalgia driven. It's cool to
Yeah.
see the other Spider-Man. I liked it. But I would say overall it's cool. You know what I mean? I
It's
think
cool.
that this one will be the best so far in Tom
The
Holland's
best
run.
Tom Holland. Okay.
Yeah, but I genuinely enjoy Tom Holland as Spider-Man. But I think I like seeing him in Civil War. I love seeing him in the Avengers. But the trilogy was cool.
Who is
Toby.
Is it Toby? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Why is Toby your go on-screen Spider-Man? Is it because of the nostalgia, or is it more because of his representation of Peter Parker and Spider-Man?
I mean, it's both. I mean, genuinely, Spider-Man 2 is just better than all those other movies.
So it's the movie then, you're saying,
Yeah,
more
for
than
sure.
it.
I mean, Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin is unmatched in any of the other Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, he
The
made No Way Home
the
better.
uh
He made No Way Home better. Willem Dafoe in that. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
Doc
was
Ock was
goated.
incredible. Like, and you know, Toby, he was great for it. You know, I know that people like to think of like, you know, Toby, might have been the best, just Peter Parker. Tom Holland's kind of in the middle. Andrew's the best Spider-Man. And I'm all fine with that. But the movies were just better. You know what I'm saying? Overall, in my mind, like they just were. The Tom Holland ones kind of have a little bit of a mess to them.
Yeah, yeah, I feel that. I feel that I love them, by the way. I love them in
Yeah,
the sense that it fits into the MCU, right? It's not gonna even get close to Spider-Man 2 ever.
yeah,
Not even this one coming out. Guaranteed it won't. I hope it does. I always
yeah,
hope so. But it's a high bar.
yeah.
But
They were just great, man. They were. You could just see these have to be great passion behind the Toby films. You know,
yeah.
they were pioneering in this era versus, you know, Tom Holland came into an established and flourishing MCU
Oh
where
yeah.
just blow up things and make things as big as possible versus we need this to work. You see the passion in Sam
Right.
Raimi's Spider-Man, right?
It was more, yeah,
Iron
creator
Man
driven.
1, this has to work.
Yes, it
You know,
has to work.
Blade, this has to work. And hopefully that returns in this new era of the MCU because they do have to work now, right?
Yeah.
So I just think it was just something that, you know, it's just not it was a passion there that was gone by the time we got here.
And Zach makes a good point saying, yeah, the Toby movies are just better than other films. And
Yeah,
so I'm wondering if you took Tom Holland and put him in Spider-Man 2, Tobey Maguire's, would it still be a great Spider-Man film?
absolutely.
So it's not Toby.
The Tom Holland has never been an issue as Spider-Man.
Right. But
Like
I
I
think does
said, it was just he was Iron Man Jr.
yeah,
It was I hated Mysterio, even though like he had cool effects, I hate it. But it's I don't think I've ever disliked it because of Tom Holland. He does a
no,
great
no, it
job
was the
as Spider-Man.
movies. Yeah.
And like I said, I loved him in the Avengers as well. They just weren't better films.
Yeah. No, I feel that. I want to ask you about this specific picture because I've seen a lot online that we might be getting a No Way Home trailer scene where they have taken out maybe other people that he's fighting with.
Yeah, I heard
What
about
do
that.
you think are the chances that in this picture could be Daredevil?
I mean that's the theory. I mean I wouldn't be shocked. There are two at the bottom that look like they're looking straight ahead, and that's maybe where
Yeah.
Daredevil is. Um, and it would make sense. You know what I mean? He's been rivaling these guys longer than Spider-Man has, but
Man.
I think he will be. You know, but at the same time, I'm not sure. I also feel like Marvel is at a point that why would they hide that? They need all the marketing that they can get to push
Right.
the brand forward right now. But
Yeah.
maybe they are. I don't know.
But as we can see, Spider-Man is a number one seller regardless. You know what I mean?
Right. No
Like
matter who else
it,
is in it.
yeah, it had I think double the viewership in 24, over double the viewership than Wolverine and Deadpool.
Yeah.
It had over double than No Way Home. I think almost
Yeah.
triple the views. Um, then let me ask you, who do you hope is also fighting with him? Do you hope it's a Savage Hulk in
Daredevil.
here? Yeah, Daredevil. That's your
Yeah.
number one
Yeah.
that you
That'd be
hope.
fine. I love Daredevil. I love that depiction of Daredevil.
Oh
Absolutely.
man, I
I mean,
love
that's.
Margot
I mean, we
Robbie.
haven't had that yet. Spider-Man and Daredevil. That's like a duo that is
Right.
must see TV. You know.
100%. Yeah, we had Matt Murdock
Now, if
catch
it
that.
was Hulk, I wouldn't be mad at that either. But I doubt it. I think
Yeah,
they would be smart enough to not go after the Hulk like
he
that.
would murder them. He would
Yeah,
murder
they
them.
have to know who that is by now.
What do you think about bringing back Michael Mando as Scorpion? Do you
Uh,
think that this is a good move? Do you think that this is just going to be maybe more of a cameo, or do you think that they're going to give him a
I think
juicier
it'll be a
role?
little bit more cameo. Not necessarily. It'll be more cameo-ish in my mind, or
Uh-huh.
maybe he'll be something a little bit more on Punisher's lore. But I picture it kind of like how Scarecrow was on The Dark Knight, where
Okay.
he's just like in the beginning, and then he gets defeated, and then like he's in. Like I kind of think it would be a little bit more like that.
Yeah.
Um, but we'll see. But I wouldn't be surprised if this was just the beginning of the movie, honestly.
Yeah, no, 100%. What did
Yeah.
you think of the suit, the mechanical suit? Did you like it, or did you think it looked a little bit too rhino-y from the Amazing Spider-Man?
I don't remember thinking anything of it. So since I didn't
Oh, that
since
might
I
be a good
wasn't bothered by it, it didn't, you know what I mean? Like it's fine, I guess, in my mind.
thing.
It's only if I like remembered it, like, God, that suit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if it
But
raised
I
some
didn't think
eyebrows.
anything of it. I like him as an actor. I think he's cool.
Yeah.
So when I seen it, I was like, oh yeah, and I kind of just moved on. So maybe I need to look at it again, but I didn't have a problem with it.
I mean, in this photo
I don't really feel like
alone.
that's, people are so hit or miss with the suits. I don't think I've ever cared about that to that degree. Like Green Goblin suit was not canon comic accurate, and that was one of the
No.
most iconic looks they
Yeah.
could have did. So um I'm more open to that.
Yeah,
I think than most people are.
I want that Green Goblin helmet, but if I
Yeah,
get
it's
another
fire.
thing, my wife's gonna divorce me, so I can't do it.
Yeah, no, but that was one of the best decisions they made. So I don't really look at it to that degree, like, oh, it has to be like the comics. I've never been that guy. So
Mhm.
when they do things new, it just better be good when I see it. You know what I mean? But I'm never opposed to that, you know?
Yeah, no, and I agree. I think Michael Mando is such a great actor, and to see him get a little bit more
More
to
shine,
chew
yeah.
on with
Yeah,
this character, he deserves it.
for
Were
sure.
you a fan of Better Call Saul?
Yeah, that's where I always resonate him with is Better Call Saul.
So
You know?
good in that show, dude.
Yeah.
So good in that
He's
show.
super dope. He's deserving of this, you know what I mean?
100%.
And
No, I think
so is John Berthal. He's overdue. And so
yeah.
is Kingpin and the whole
Mhm.
cast of like the Daredevil Netflix universe.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean,
Mhm.
I know there's a rights issue with the Kingpin being in the movies, but work that out because
Yeah,
we need to see Spider-Man and Kingpin in a movie together. That would be absolutely epic.
for sure.
Awesome. Well, let us know what you guys think. Did you see the Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer? And did you like what you saw? Did you like that he was turning into a man spider and the organic webs, and we might get Savage Hulk back? Drop a comment below and let us know your guys' thoughts. All right, Brent, we are almost out of here. We got one more topic. Are you down? One more?
Sure. We're already here now.
I'm keeping him up all night. I'm gonna keep you until I can't anymore. But I appreciate you, and I definitely appreciate you being here with me. All right, guys. As we know, last Sunday was a historic night. Michael B. Jordan won Best Lead Actor for his role in Sinners. And the whole world cheered for him, is what it felt like. And me and Zach did a live stream for 4 hours on Sunday with the Oscars, got a little tipsy from the champagne celebrating, and it was a magical night. And a lot of times when people win the Oscar, they think, what are they going to do next? And as we know, we have bunch of projects lined up with Michael B. Jordan, but one is shaping up to be quite interesting and packed with superstars. That is Joseph Kosinski's Miami Vice.
Yeah.
And it is now being reported that the villain for this movie could be Tom Cruise. This comes to us from mensjournal.com. They say after Tom Cruise officially shelved the Ethan Hunt persona, the superstar has shown no signs of slowing down. Social media erupted last week with speculation that the A-lister is being eyed for the villain role in the upcoming Miami Vice reboot. While the rumor remains unconfirmed, originating from industry insider Daniel RPK, the internet and even the industry professionals have latched on to the news. Fans have been waiting to see Cruise play a villain again ever since he played the silver-haired hitman Vincent in Michael Mann's classic Collateral. And the possibility of him returning to the dark side has sparked a lot of discussion across forums. Since this dropped, it has also been reported that Michael B has demanded and been accepted 3 times his salary for this movie after winning Best Lead Actor. So kudos to Michael B. And it seems like this bad boy is shaping up to be quite a big project with Austin Butler and Top Gun Maverick director Joseph Kosinski also attached. I want to ask you, Brent, what do you think, one, of a Miami Vice reboot with Michael B. Jordan and Austin Butler, and 2, Tom Cruise possibly playing the villain of this movie?
I think Tom Cruise as the villain would be fantastic, man. I love Collateral. It's one of my favorite movies. That's one of my favorite performances from him. So like certain characters like him was usually the hero and you get to see him in a new light. I think that would be perfect casting. And I want to see it. Like there's nothing negative I can say about it. I'm hopeful for this whole thing to be true. And Michael B is just performing at another level right now. And I've got to see his whole journey and to see where he's at now with this. He's the hardest working man right now in Hollywood. But I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
No, I totally agree. I mean, when I first saw this news, like you and most people, I immediately thought of his character in Collateral. I absolutely love that movie and his turn in it. This silver-haired hitman who is just very direct, very scary, very like, this guy is on the edge of like, he'll kill you or he's going to be your best friend. Like, I can't really figure this out. And the way that he played that, it was very sinister, but also like very endearing and like brought you in. And that's something that Tom Cruise is so good at. But because of this action, Mission Impossible kind of stuff, we haven't seen that for over 20 years. So for this to get him back to that kind of role makes me really excited.
Yeah, absolutely.
On top of that, to have Michael B. Jordan, fresh off of an Oscar, work with Austin Butler and Joseph Kosinski, who just did F1, which was a fantastic experience in the theaters, won an Oscar for best sound editing, and then also did Top Gun Maverick, which people didn't even think would be near $1 billion film almost. It's just such an exciting project for all these kind of guys to be in. And so it's really cool to see this thing kind of start coming together. It's really cool to see Michael B advocating for himself. The original number, I think, was 5 million, which is kind of low. And now he's getting 18, which is like, all right, here we go. This guy's cashing in on the Oscar as he should be. He should be advocating for himself. I think that's fantastic. But there's also something that a lot of people aren't talking about is Michael B. Jordan's connection with Tom Cruise. I don't know if you're aware of this, But when Tom was doing his last movie with Mission Impossible, Michael B. Jordan was able to come out and support him on the red carpet, which I found to be really cool. And so there's a picture of them, and so it seems like, and then after that, Tom Cruise came out to the red carpet for Sinners to support Michael B. And so it's really cool to see these kind of these kind of stars starting to support each other and
Yeah.
want people to go to the theaters. Tom Cruise all about the theaters. And so I found that really cool that they were starting to build this like relationship built on this like profound respect for one another. And now to be able to work against each other in a hero versus villain kind of role only elevates their story and their relationship even more. So I thought that was really cool. Did you see any of that? Any of that like kind of support of Tom Cruise and Michael B?
No, I actually didn't. I can't think of the actor's name, but he's on Breaking Bad. He kind of they always say he's like the Matt Damon looking clone.
Jesse Plemons.
Desi Plemons, yes. I
Gotcha.
seen that, him and Michael B. Jordan had a much closer relationship than I realized because they
Yeah.
started off together. So I saw that. I didn't see anything with Tom Cruise, but I mean, that does make it better because now they have the chemistry to go into it to work better together. But yeah, no, like I said, I think this would be fire. I would be very excited to watch this film. Tom Cruise to me is the GOAT of action films in general.
Oh yeah.
I made a video about that before. Not necessarily like the GOAT of just acting in general, but action films, Tom Cruise to me is number one.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, and also on top of that, it's just like he has this like profound respect for theater going and keeping it alive. And he
Yeah.
wants the stuff to be the spectacle, to be big, to be exciting. And so if he's going to do a Miami Vice movie, you better believe that he's going to be putting a lot of input about like, how can we make this better? How can we make this exciting? How can we make the theater experience epic when people see this movie in theaters? And I think that's something that Tom Cruise will bring in spades to a Miami Vice movie. I see Raider had a comment. He was saying, but it's Miami Vice. Is it going to be a comedy? What do you think about that? Do you think Miami Vice is historically more of a comedy, or would you say that like it's more like of an action comedy, or an action with, comedy jabs and stuff like that in it?
Oh, it's an action comedy. It can't be a comedy with them in it. They're not funny. You know what I mean? But it's always gonna have, comic relief. You know what I mean? It's gonna have like those moments, but no, it's not gonna be like Bad Boys. You know what I mean? I couldn't see that. I think
No.
it'll be a little bit more edgier, but it's gonna have moments, I would say.
I got to push back on you though, because when it comes to Tom Cruise, if you've seen him as Les Grossman in Tropic Thunder, have you seen that?
Yeah,
He got
it's
the
funny
fat
because
suit on.
it's funny because it's Tom Cruise doing it. It's not funny though.
No.
He was brilliant in that.
He was
But
brilliant.
but it was more, that was like a different type of comedy though. Like it can't go that far.
It was like slapstick. Yeah, it was like,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
right.
It can't do that.
That would
Like
not
that
work.
would be like it can't do that. But that one was also, like I said, it was funny because when you're like, oh, this is Tom Cruise, and it's just more of like the joy of like the fact that he's doing this movie. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that, but the movie overall, that's one of the greatest films ever made. You know what I mean? But
Tropic Thunder.
yeah, for sure, 100%.
Robert Downey got an Oscar nom for
Yeah,
that.
you should deserve it.
Crazy.
But
100%.
yeah, it can't be to me like that much of a comedy, but I think it will have its moments.
Okay. Yeah. No, I like that. I like having a little bit in there. I mean, they did do that remake with Colin Farrell and Jamie Foxx, and
Yeah,
Michael Mann directed it, which Michael Mann directed Collateral as well. And I liked that movie. I
it
thought
was
it might have
cool.
been, it was cool, but it's not like one that like I go back to, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I feel like Joseph Kosinski, the director, makes films that like that are more epic, that you want to see on the big screen, that you're like, that was sick. Not that was cool, but like that was dope. Like I want to see that again. Were you able to see F1 or
No,
Top Gun Maverick in theaters?
I didn't watch neither one of those. I'm not into car plane. I ain't gonna lie, like I didn't care. Like I thought I would watch Top Gun, and then I just didn't. I was like, bro, I don't know. It's
You see the
it,
original?
yeah, but like when I was like really, really young. I
Yeah.
used to love the ride at Great America, but nah, I didn't.
That's
I
a deep
didn't care.
cut. That's a
I
deep
tried to put
cut.
on F1 a couple weeks ago, and I didn't get through it. I might try it again, but
You
those
fell asleep?
types of movies aren't my thing.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think if anything, Joseph Kosinski just does a great and you are a storyteller. So I think the way that he tells his stories are very like cohesive, and they take you on this journey. So I think that aspect of his movies is something that can lend really well for a Miami Vice movie, right? Like you gotta like these characters. You gotta like Austin Butler and Michael B and their chemistry. You gotta like the villain and being sinister and being a thorn in their asses. Like, and so I think he does a good job of making you like involved in the story and captivated. I mean, not so much for you watching F1 because you stopped watching it while you were watching it, but I think he does, if you look at it in that lens, even if you're not like like I don't put on F1, you know what I mean? I'm from the Bay, like I just watch the Warriors and the Raiders, you know what I mean? And the A's are dead to me because they left Oakland and now we have no teams. But regardless of that, if my wife is I mean, it's Brad Pitt, she gonna be entertained, you know what I mean? But I feel like it did really well in the theaters because it was just like an entertaining ride that keeps
Yeah,
you engaged all the time. You want to see how is this going to play out with these characters, and if anything, you got to fall in love with the characters, right? With any movie.
absolutely. You have to.
Yeah. Well, let us know what you guys think. This is in the works. It seems like they're working out contracts based on what we're hearing from Michael B. I hear Austin Butler maybe not as locked in, and then I hear the Tom Cruise, maybe just a rumor for now, but he does have those connections to the director. He obviously has those connections with Michael B, and it would be really cool to see him get back into a more villainous kind of role. So let us know what you guys think and drop a comment below. All right, brother. We did it. We did the interview. We got into some topics. I just want to say before we get out of here, man, you are one of the hardest working people I know. You are always at these conventions. You're in the comic book shops. You're doing your own con. You have your own comic book store. You are always on the move. And the fact that you took time to be on this show, hang out with me, sit with me, dive into all the stuff from the bottom of my heart, from the Evan edition. I just got to say, I really appreciate it. And it was really fantastic having you on here.
No, I appreciate you more, man. Thank you for having me on there. Got to nerd out for a while. It's getting a little late.
It is. I know.
but but it was an
I
epic conversation, brother. And gotta do it again sometime. Absolutely.
100%. No, I can't wait. We'll start earlier. I just, on Mondays, I'm wrapping up with work. But anything to accommodate getting you back on here and nerding out with you. I had a fantastic time, and I really appreciate you being open and candid and talking about these things that we love. Where can the good people find you, my friend?
Impoundcomics.com is always the best place to look. That's where we update everything in our full universe, from books to news to everything. And then at Impound Comics on whatever platform you're familiar with or love to use. We're on all of them, and we're active on all of them. So I leave that as a the dealer's choice. But at Impound Comics on everything.
Fantastic. And you guys, please like, subscribe. You can find me at the Evan Edition. I am on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, TikTok, Instagram, and of course, YouTube. Once again, Brett, thank you so much for being here, for talking about Impound Comics, for putting people on. Hopefully, you have to check this universe out. It is ever expanding, and you will be able to find a story for you because they are absolutely fantastic. And I appreciate you hanging out with us. So everyone in the chat, thank you for being here. Raider Nation, subscribe, brother. Raider Nation for life. Let's go. And for the rest of you, it is always a pleasure having you guys in the chat. Zach, Lucas, CC, Kevin, Finger, Katsutura, you guys, thank you so much for being here, for commenting. Like, subscribe. We are usually here on Sundays at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're going to have some fun stuff coming up. We got an interview with our first TV writer on April 4th. She is one of the staff writers from the show Supernatural, amongst the comic book creator of Peggy Sue and a lot of other stuff that you guys love. And yeah, so thank you so much for being in here, for tuning in, and we will see you guys next time. Bye-bye, my friends.
It's the Evan Edition. The Evan Edition. The Evan Edition. The Evan Edition. It's the Evan Edition. The Evan Edition. The Evan Edition. The Evan Edition. It's the Evan Edition.